Alright, hello there class. Welcome to another distance learning lesson. So as usual, let's copy this all down. So, 应用. This means to use or apply something. Sometimes it is about knowledge, sometimes it's about other things. But yeah. So like you can 应用 a person also, like to do something. Like if you wanted a tutor, you can 应用 a tutor to teach you something. So very simple example that, yeah. All right, I'm going to move on. Make sure you also guess. Use the FLT to guess. Don't just say because the teacher wants us to learn Chinese, because that's not what I want. That's what you all wanted. That's why I'm doing this. So, make sure that if you do that, I'll take off points. Take this seriously. I want you to think about the math content. Alright, so let's move on in 3, 2, 1. I'm assuming you already did that. Okay, so now let's go and do this. So copy this down and then try to remember what these things are, these things mean. So look back at your notes or Google them or something, pause the video, copy this all down. Yes, draw that too. I'm going to assume you did this in 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. So, from the diagram, list the angles that are vertical angles. So, vertical angles, those are the ones that are across from each other. So, like 1 and 4. Those are across from each other, therefore they are vertical angles. So, we have angle 1 and angle 4. We have 2 and 3, yeah. They are across from each other. And then 5 and 8. And then we have 6 and 7. Okay, corresponding. Corresponding angles basically means that they're in kind of like the same place, so to speak. So if you see like the 4 of those, we have 1 and 5. They're both in the upper left-hand corner, so they're called corresponding angles. So angle 1 and angle 5. And then we also have 2 and 6. They're in the same position, upper right hand, so angle 2 and angle 6. And then 3 and 7, same bottom left corner. So angle 3 and angle 7. And then the last two that we have are 4 and 8. Okay, same side interior. So let's see what's inside and are the same. Well, here's a side. Those are inside, so 3 and 5. Angle 3 and angle 5. The other insides we have 4 and 6. So we got angle 4 and angle 6. Now, alternate interior angles. Alternate means different sides. So the interior, we're still looking at the interior angles. So only these 4. So of those, which ones are on opposite sides? Well, we have 3 and 6. And then we also have 4 and 5. Great. Same side exterior. So now we're looking at the ones that are outside. Okay, so now let's look at the exterior angle. So we're looking at these 4. Same side. We have 1 and 7. Then we have 2 and 8. On the right hand side. Now alternate. We got 1 and 8. And then we have 2 and 7. Alright, so remember this thing? We made this about a week ago. So we're going to reference this again specifically for the stuff that is congruent. So just take a note of that, and then in the next thing start writing down which ones are congruent to each other, which angles are congruent to each other. We have these things are congruent. So the question is, well, what types of things are congruent? Well, what relationships are congruent? More so. So we see that 1 and 4 are congruent. They have a certain type of relationship. We see 1 and 4. They're vertical angles. Are all vertical angles congruent? We have 5 and 8. So that checks off. I'm just going to do a check mark. So 1 and 4, they check off also. And then 2 and 3. Yeah, those are congruent. 6 and 7. Yep. That checks off too. So vertical angles, yes, they are congruent. Well, what else is congruent? Well, let's say we have 1 is congruent also to what else? 1 is also congruent to 5, it looks like. Is there any sort of relationship between 1 and 5? If we look over to the left, we see 1 and 5, they're corresponding angles. So let's check the other corresponding angles. So we have 1 and 5. That checks off. How about 2 and 6? 2 and 6? Yep. That checks. 3 and 7. Are they? Yep. 3 and 7. 4 and 8. Yes. They are also congruent. How about same side interiors? Are they congruent? Well, if we look at this, let's just check the first one. 3 and 5. So we see 5 is here, 3 is here. They're not the same, so no. Same side interiors. If one of them doesn't work, all of them don't work. Okay, so that we don't need to worry about. Alternate interiors, let's look at that. Alternate interiors, 3 and 6. Are they in the same? Well, yeah, those are, so that checks off. How about 4 and 5? Yep, that also checks off. Let's look at same side exteriors. So 1 and 7, are they? So there's 1, there's 7, so no. Same side exteriors are not. Now the last group that we want to look at, or that we even can look at, alternate exteriors, 1 and 8. There's 1, there's 8, same line, they're congruent. 2 and 7, yep, there we go. So just a really quick summary over there about what in the world just happened. We see that vertical angles are congruent, corresponding alternate interior and alternate exteriors are congruent. So the main thing is if you can get those and identify which ones are verticals, corresponding alternate interior and exteriors, then you can find congruence. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to do. Make sure that you're there. You're probably already there. Just do the quiz that's there. And then that's it. Submit. We're good. Quick, easy, done. 5 questions.